So, guys, these freaking progressive, left wing, woke people have no freaking morals. They have no freaking common sense when it comes to actually being open about a certain group of people thinking outside the left wing Democrat establishment media. The reason the reason I'm saying this, because this whole depiction of a black white supremacist is a complete and utter stupid ass term. This whole, if a black person runs as a Republican, then he's a black white supremacist. But then they will call the Republican white voters racist for voting for a black person. I'm talking about Wilson Sears here, people, and other black Republicans that these white supremacists voted for. Seriously, how can you be a white supremacist and you voted for a black person? See, this whole race baiting BS that they did with Wilson Sears, Larry Elder, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, hopping on the bandwagon, calling these black people white supremacists, calling them Trumpians and all that other grade A BS, left wing BS. Now, before I get into the article, let's hear something from a little friend, Joe Rogan, about how he feels about the left calling black Republicans black white supremacists. Let's go ahead and listen to Joe Rogan.
Actually, that's possible now. They're saying that.
Oh yeah.
Anytime that's like being a black white supremacist. But actually, that's possible now. They're saying that.
Oh yeah.
Anytime a black person says anything that doesn't go with the Democratic narrative, they said that person's carrying water for white supremacists.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
They're out of their mind. That lady that was the new lieutenant governor of Virginia, that is a black woman who she's sponsored by the NRA. I mean, I don't know what all of her accolades are, but incredibly articulate lady, powerful woman. They're saying that her becoming the lieutenant governor is a victory for white supremacy. I read that. I read
and
it on
she's
Twitter.
a black woman.
She's a black woman. When then Larry Elder was running for governor of California, they said he's the black face of white supremacy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
What? What are you saying? What the are you saying? Like, you could disagree with the man's politics, but that white supremacy is like a stamp they like to put on as many things as they can. Like 15% off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, no, as a matter of fact, let's keep going with this. Let's keep going with this.
Okay,
This
so
looks like a Donnell Rawlings character as well.
Jamel
I'm going
Hill
to go
says
ahead
it's
and say
not
that.
the messaging, folks. This country simply loves white supremacy, and this is because of the victory in Virginia
Of
by
a
the
Republican.
Republican Party. But the governor of Virginia was doing a job. The people voted. They didn't like him. They didn't understand what was going on with the way the school system was handling certain issues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Winsome Sears, and what is her background? It's kind of that she's holding a gun, and she doesn't have her finger in the proper position either.
Actually, I'm
What does it say?
I'm glad she's not.
She was in the
finger on the
Marines.
trigger would. Oh, she will.
She was a Jamaican in the Marines, so she's an immigrant.
Oh, I like
Came to this
that.
country. She said, "This country has done so much for me. I was willing to die for this country."
Wow.
She said, a Marine Corps veteran said in her speech.
And she won, Youngkin.
Yeah. Yep. Youngkin is the man, and she is the lieutenant governor. So she's like it's like the vice president.
I love this.
Amazing. And a veteran and a Republican and an immigrant. And by the way, very few people are more anti-communist and anti-Marxist than people who've come from communist countries. You want to hear someone who's a anti-Marxist, anti-communist? Talk to someone who's been from Russia. Those people, anybody who's been from that Eastern Europe, they don't want to hear none of that bullshit. They they hate it. When you see these college kids talk about Marxism has never been done correctly, they're like, you. You know, our country lost millions of people because of this shit.
See, the reason I brought this up is because of this little article right here from the Post Millennial that says from the 538 claims white voters who vote for black Republicans are racist. Guys, you You can't make this up. You cannot make this stuff up. Following the election of Republican Ransom Sears to the office of Lieutenant Governor in Virginia, progressive outlet 538 claims that white voters who vote for black Republicans are racist. This is the problem. Whenever a black person comes out as a Republican and they somehow win in a election, boom, white supremacists. White supremacists made this black person win this election. This black immigrant, this woman from Jamaica, she ended up winning because of white supremacy, and not because of anything else, not because of her policies, not because of where she stands, what her moral grounds are, how she feels about education. No, she didn't win the election because of any of that. She won because of white supremacy. Let's go on with this article. They argue that supporting a black candidate hardly precludes voters from harboring racist beliefs and motivations, noting that Republicans are increasingly more likely than Democrats to hold prejudiced views of minorities. So black Republicans like Sears often draw especially strong support from white Americans with otherwise anti-black views simply because they draw most of the support from Republican voters. Again, what anti-black views did Ransom Sears has? If you ask me, in my opinion, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, left-wing Democrat progressive media, they're more anti-black than the Republicans. They openly say stuff like, oh, black people need help getting lawyers. Black people need help getting IDs because apparently we're too stupid to know how to get a basic freaking ID. Black people need help applying for jobs. They need help using the internet. They openly say this. Claiming that black people are so damn ignorant that we don't know how to do for ourselves. Let's keep going with the article. 538 uses the example of numerous theoretical political matchups between supporters of Republican Ben Carson, who campaigned to be president in 2016, and other previous presidents and presidential nominees, connecting those with statements that white Americans agreed or disagreed with. The first compares Carson supporters to white Americans that though black Americans had too much influence. Those that thought black Americans had too much influence in politics referred Carson to Hillary Clinton by 45 points. Whites who thought African Americans had far too little influence disliked Carson and preferred Hillary Clinton by 60 percentage points. They stressed that Republicans are more likely to hold president's views and also more likely to support a Republican candidate. But that's the point. For many white GOP voters, anti-black views don't seem to get in the way of supporting a black Republican. So what point are you making there? In another theoretical matchup, they compare Ben Carson, Barack Obama, and Jeb Bush to a white person's view of how violent a black or white person is. What? Those that highly supported Carson were most likely to say that most African Americans are more violent than whites. On the other hand, those that said most whites are more violent than African Americans were supportive of Obama. Okay, here we go with this whole black people committing crime, white people committing crime, dude. It's not a false story that the 13% of the population creates over 50% of violent crimes in the United States. That's a fact. But people who hear that, they want to cry racism. Because apparently it's hurting black people's feelings when they hear stuff like this. Bitch, if you don't get the fuck... To make sense of why racially prejudiced white Americans are willing to support some black candidates, it is worth considering why they so strongly oppose black Democrats in the first place. Okay, here's the thing. I oppose black Democrats to the fullest. And I'm not even Republican. Does that make me a quote unquote black white supremacist? No, it makes me a free thinker. That's what a lot of black Republicans are. They're free thinkers. They're not being paid by the whites, man. That would be Joy Reid, Don Lemon, whose company owners are all white. They state that most black political candidates are Democrats who embrace liberal positions on issues of race and justice. They argue that racially prejudiced white voters worry that these candidates will represent the interests of black Americans, but they don't. But because of a shared African American identity, and because Democrats are perceived as a party more supportive of black interests, but they're not. They was see Joe Biden. Let's use it for example. He just cut $30 billion from historically black colleges. Yeah, he claims to be the most caring to the black people, the minorities. But he ended up but the black unemployment is now up again under a Democrat when under a Republican it was very low. I talked about the historically black colleges. I talked about how crime is going up in black communities. Joe Biden is not doing a damn thing about that. The black right now, a lot of black people are going against Biden and Harris. Jimmy Kimmel talk about it's because she's a woman and she's a person of color. But even black people are turning their backs on Kamala Harris. So what? So what does that make all those black people that says, yo, we don't like Kamala Harris at all? What the hell is she doing? See, it's people like Jimmy Kimmel that keeps people completely ignorant. So it makes sense that racially resentful white Americans oppose candidates like Obama, as his racial identity and partisanship signal to voters that he has more support of a black interest than prior presidents. Put another way, racially prejudiced white voters are not opposed to black candidates simply because they are black, but because they believe that most black candidates will fight for those people and not people like us. They say of black Democrats. They say that black Republicans are perceived by prejudiced white Americans as not being in the business of carrying water for their own racial group. Again, okay, so here we go again with this. If you are a black Republican, you are obviously for the white man. I hate these woke progressive news outlets because I'm doing this because they're not really news outlets. They're more propaganda news. The same thing with CNN and MSNBC. There are even some people on Fox News. There are freaking propaganda. They also argue that black Republicans that embrace bootstrap ideologies or focus on the individual are more popular with racially prejudiced whites. Finally, they argue that voting for black Republicans give these racially prejudiced whites a sort of card to say, I can't be racist. I voted for a black candidate. So what does that say about Democrats? What does that say about Democrats then? Because liberals come out and say a black person who thinks for himself is not black. These are white liberals that say this. But apparently that falls under the radar. That's in nobody's radar when it comes to progressives, to lefts, because that hurts the narrative that liberals care about black people. Race, after all, is a social construct. It has meaning because we imbue it with meaning, they wrote. Guys, it's stations like that make people really think about they position, because this whole black Republicans are white supremacists and dark shade type narrative type ideology is stupid. Because truth be told, black people are morally conservative. They want less taxes. They want less government. They want better paying jobs. They want better health care. But apparently, the Democrats still get the majority of black vote because a lot of black people are voting for the wrong party. Now, I'm not saying you can't vote for what you believe in, but when you vote for a certain group, be sure that they have your policies at best interest, because they could say one thing and then do a complete another thing. And the Democrats have been doing this for over 50 years. This whole they care about black people, the party switched. No, that's stupid. The party's never switched. The Democrats just use race as a means to get the black vote, and black people are so in tune with racism that they believe anything the Democrats say when it comes to race issues. Like the Democrats actually care about race issues. They now calling Bridges racist. They call that freaking White House correspondent, for real, he called a bridge racist, saying it hurts black people to a certain extent. I'm done with this video, man. I'm done. If you guys like what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.